I've made a lot of friends through my fraternity. Dom was talking about like meeting people from other schools. I feel like the parallel to that at Dartmouth is like, what fraternity are you from? You know, that's kind of like one of the first questions that you might ask.
Is it weird that I've always like imagined Greek life as like cults?
It's not unlike it.
Yeah.
Emma, do you have anything to share?
I'm just gonna say it's not like a cult.
Juggling classes, making friends, studying tips, saving money. We're talking about all things college and giving you advice with real college students. Featuring today's hosts, Colby Martel, Domonique Cynthia, and Shan Rizwan. Welcome to the Campus Underground podcast. Sit back, relax, and learn new hacks.
Hello, everybody. This is Campus Underground, and welcome to the pod. Today we have with us Jeffrey, Imani, Emma, Shan, and Colby, and we're going to talk everything college. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to pass it to Colby.
Okay, awesome. So I think a large part of our identities as college students is more so what we do outside of the classroom. So I kind of just want to start this off, get a little bit more introduction to each of us, and discuss what we do outside of the classroom. Jeff, you want to get started?
Yeah, sure. I'm currently a junior and obviously joined a lot of clubs in my freshman year, but kind of like fell off on some of them or like just like stopped doing them. I do like a consulting organization thing on campus. I was involved in some like theater stuff just for fun. I did a little bit of like the running team stuff, and maybe some other stuff as well that I can't think of right now.
Yeah, so because I'm a film major, so all of my extracurriculars involve just going to sets, and that's pretty much my life outside of school. I can't play sports. I'm not athletic. So yeah, that's my life.
Nice. I kind of go ham with clubs. I go to a smaller school, so it's easier to like join as many clubs as you want and like rise up in the ranks kind of. So I'm the president of the marketing society right now, and I'm philanthropy chair for my sorority. And then I started the Hong Kong Student Association at my school. I've dropped some clubs recently to make some more time for myself. So those are my main priorities though, yeah.
Let's see. For me, so I graduated college last year, and when I was in school, I was an RA for 2 years. I was part of a bunch of like Asian clubs on campus. Like I'm half Filipino, so I was in the Filipino club, and then this other org called Asian Caucus, which is like student government, but like for all the Asian clubs and like Asian people on campus at my school. So I think those were probably the main ones I was in.
Very cool. So me and Sean are older. So I graduated last year as well. And when I was at school, I wasn't in as many clubs as you guys. I actually was in the fashion club freshman year and Black Wharton my freshman year as well. But because of YouTube, I was off campus filming every weekend. So I kept missing club meetings and I got tired of having to come up with excuses. So I ended up actually leaving most of my clubs by sophomore year. So a little bit different, but yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I started my freshman year involved with student government. That was the main thing that got me out of my dorm room and involved with the campus. It was a very structured organization that I met a lot of friends through. And then moving on from that, like Emma mentioned, you can move up to your rank in the ranks as you move up in grade. So my sophomore year, I joined the e-board and was even more involved with that. Started making YouTube videos for the student government as well and doing weekly giveaways to enhance school spirit. And then moving on from that, I went even more into the activities field, into the campus activities board, where I'm the president right now as a junior. And beyond that, I do YouTube, I have pretty much a full-time job on the side besides my academics. And I'm also part of the art program there. I'm called a Sorensen Art Scholar. So other than that, I'm also a math resource consultant, and I grade papers for one of my previous professors. And then there's one more thing. Oh yeah, I started a club for other creators on campus called the Babson Creative Community. So we haven't been too active this semester, unfortunately, but next semester I'm planning monthly or weekly meetings for them so that we can have a community of creators on campus to learn from each other and grow. Yeah. So what do these clubs mean to you? How did you find these clubs? And then what what college advice would you give pertaining to clubs, I would say? Like, how do you find them?
Are we gonna like go around again?
I think we should mix
just,
it
like,
up,
jump
make it more
around, yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can start anyways. I mean, I like I said, I joined like a lot of clubs in my freshman year, so that's kind of my advice. I think is like when you're a freshman, join as many clubs as you can, because as we've seen, like you can always leave the clubs if you're not interested or you don't have time. So I think it's good to like kind of get your foot in the door and like see if this is something that could interest you and could be something that you want to do further, whether it's like a pre-professional thing like consulting or marketing, or it's more just like a sport. Like I joined like the badminton club for like a week. I didn't mention that before. I quit because like I sucked, but like it was one of those things where like I got to do something cool, make friends, spend time with friends, and ultimately like kind of decide what interested me, what I'm passionate about. And that's kind of what led to like, me focusing in on the few clubs that I was interested in, like the consulting organization that I talked about, and, kind of moving up the ranks in there.
Yeah, so like I said, orgs were never a huge part of my life. And honestly, like all the opportunities that I've gotten on film sets have been either like posters, like flyers just around the school, because we have so many of them, it's ridiculous. But also Instagram has been surprisingly helpful. Like I find so many like Emerson like crew calls and like cast calls just on Instagram, and like other people are like advertising their BFA films, just like people that I follow that are making work independently. They put it out there, and that's just like how I find out about all these positions that I go for and all the sets that I work on.
Instagram is a good way to find like new people and new clubs on campus too. I think what I did was I joined, like how Shan was talking about, the Asian club on my school's campus, like the really big one for all Asian students. And then I'd like follow people that I met there, and then they would post stuff about their clubs on Instagram. And then I'd be like, okay, maybe I should go to this, try this. I don't like that. Not going to do that again. And then try something new and like just meet other people, expand your network and find out what they do, figure out what's fun, and then like latch onto them and then make it your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I think for my college experience when I was a freshman, I was like Filipino, and let me join the Filipino club. So we instantly have that commonality, some sort of shared experience, like American Filipino people. And I think it was just a really good way to instantly off the bat, like have a bunch of people that, whether they're, upperclassmen or whatever, like they have their own experiences and advice. So I think that was really helpful for me, getting acclimated to college. And then from there, like you said, like you meet their friends and like it just branches off like a exponential kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. And I was similar. Obviously, I'm Black. So I joined a lot of the Black clubs on campus. But I'm curious about you guys' thoughts. This is kind of like a devil advocacy of with clubs. I felt like when I was at school that everybody was joining clubs, which is awesome. But if you are interested in things that are outside of the social norm, which I feel like in college the social norm is to like join a club, like that's basically your social life is club or like parties. But I felt like if I have an interest in something else, just because every weekend people are going to parties or every weekend or every weekday people are going to their club meetings, and I like something else, like you shouldn't have to feel like you have to do what everybody else is doing. And that's where I think my college experience was so different, where I was not on campus every weekend. I couldn't be in clubs because I was never there, to where some people are like, wow, you're kind of like robbing yourself of a college experience. But I'm curious of like, what's you guys' takes with that, or ways that you decided to be different than the social norm? Because like, yes, I totally support clubs. I think they're awesome, great ways to make friends. But like, was there any other ways that you guys came up with of how to make friends that's different or unique?
Well, I think the college experience is what you make it. Like, I feel like we've all built up this idea of what the college experience should be. And it doesn't have to be like going to like frat parties or like drinking, like just doing the things that you see in like 80s teen movies. You don't have to do that. Like, fun fact, I've never actually been to a college party. not a single one, and I don't really care to. Like, I'm just not a party person. So I think just tailoring your experience to your personality, I think you'll get the most out of it. But also, like, other ways to make friends that doesn't involve, like, being in a sorority or fraternity or, like, going to parties every weekend. Like, I literally made my 2 best friends in a class. So I think, like, that's just one way to make friends that's not within, like, the social norm that 80s teen movies have conditioned us to want.
I totally agree with that. I think coming in as a first year student, I needed some structure, but so I reached out to the student government to apply and be part of that, to have something beyond academics. But school is also something that's structured, and a lot of professors at my school have group projects or things where they group you with other students. And even if you don't love everyone in your group, you might find one person that you really hit it off with and become close friends with. I know I'm friends with Jeffrey since elementary school, and
Thanks for the shout out.
and it wasn't because of anything outside of class. It was just because we were on the same bus, we were in the same class. So just by putting yourself in position to interact with people, regardless of whether it's a club or just academics, then I think you can really build a relationship with them, and it goes beyond academics after that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think also, just being open-minded, and even for me personally, my closest friend from college was my freshman year roommate, who we were just randomly put together. And I think a lot of my close friends from college were people that just lived in my dorm on the same floor. So I think if I wasn't so open that first month, like, having my door open, just being willing to talk to people, make friends, I don't think that kind of stuff would have happened.
Yeah, I think dorms are a big part of making friends too. With like our year as well, because we started in like the middle of COVID, we could only stay in the dorms. So you are just automatically going to be close with those people. You have to be close to them. You have to like trust them as well too. And I feel like that added another layer of immediate friendship, because you know that you want to socialize with them, but also it was kind of a scary time too, where you don't know like what's going to happen. So you have that icebreaker in the beginning, I think, too.
Yeah, I personally started college without a roommate. I was like the only one because they were de-densifying our campus because of the COVID pandemic. So luckily we were allowed on campus, but I was alone in a room and we couldn't enter anyone else's room. So although I got advice from my family to knock on other people's doors, I technically wasn't allowed to do that. So not that I probably would have anyway, because I was very introverted and shy. So I agree with Shan, like definitely keep your door open and try to meet people that way. Just like make it frictionless. Just maybe if you have a door open, someone will see what you're doing and then want to find a way to connect with you. So even if you're not actively seeking out friends, just being in position to have other people find you is a great way to meet people. But I've talked to a lot of students in this past year, and their best advice is to, the cliche answer, put yourself out there, go meet people, because as a first year, you're all probably kind of nervous and think that, it'll be hard to make friends, or that other people aren't reaching out to you. So maybe you don't want to reach out to them, but it has to start somewhere. So if you take that initiative to find people, I think that's something that I've learned this year would be a really good thing. And like Emma said about roommates, so I didn't have a roommate. And then my sophomore experience, I had a random roommate who we didn't really connect very well. We had very different values. So that actually pushed me to leave the dorm and pursue YouTube and go explore other campuses. So I met some really close friends on different campuses as well. So it doesn't have to be confined to your room or even just your campus. You can find people around anywhere, even not on different campuses, but different places where you want to just explore.
I totally agree with that, with leaving my campus a lot and filming students from different schools. Now that I've graduated and I live in New York City now, so many people that I have met from schools across the country now all live in New York. So it feels like we have this huge new college campus with this huge new experience of oh my gosh, I talked to you in LA and now you live next to me. And now we have so many more friends and have social events that have, you'll meet people and be like, oh, what school did you go to? And it's at a school you've never even heard unheard of because your circle becomes so much bigger, like when you graduate. So I think leaving your campus is actually a really cool thing that not a lot of people take advantage of, and using social media to find people to go meet. And even when I used to film at the beginning, I would just message somebody, a woman on Instagram that went to a school, and I was like, hey, like, my name's Dom. I'm coming to your school. Could I crash on your floor? And she would say yes. And maybe it was a little dangerous now that I look back, but I made a friend out of her, met her friends, and now still friends with them to this day. So I think leaving your school is really cool way to diversify your friends. But then another thing that I thought of is a lot of us think we're a little too cool for school when we're in school. And when you get all those emails from your RA or from your dormitory saying like, hey, like there's an event going on, or like we can take you to go see a basketball game or something. A lot of us don't read the emails, or like, no, we don't want to go to that. You should go. Because when you have an apartment and you don't have an RA anymore and you're not affiliated to a school, you're not getting an email anymore inviting you to go to fun events for free. So your tuition is literally going towards this. And on top of that, when you're there at these events, you can make a lot of friends that can be lifelong friends. So that's one thing that I regret, is not going to more of those events that you get in your email, and actually checking my email. I had like thousands of emails, like for no reason, that I should have opened. So yeah, definitely those types of events that your school puts on too.
I guess I'll speak a little bit. You know, I think some people were talking about like getting off campus and kind of speaking and representing the rural community, college community. I go to Dartmouth. If you haven't been there, it's like, it's not actually rural, but it's like very small town up in northern New Hampshire. Not really a lot of other schools around there. So not really a lot of things to do off campus, even if I wanted to, and not a lot of college age students. So I think like part of my college experience that's been really valuable is all the on-campus stuff that's happening. And of course, we've already talked about a lot of things like clubs. But I think Greek life is something that's very big at Dartmouth. Like 70% of students are affiliated, which is obviously a majority there. And a reason for that is because precisely that there's not much off campus, so people are turning inward. And it's a very big part of the social scene beyond just like, you know, what you might see in movies with like frat parties or whatever. Like it truly is like, it's like a very big part of the community. I'm part of a fraternity personally. I didn't mention that earlier because I didn't know if that counted as a club. But I've made a lot of friends through my fraternity. You know, being able to meet people from other fraternities, and Dom was talking about like meeting people from other schools. I feel like the parallel to that at Dartmouth is like, in a way, it's like, what fraternity are you from? You know, that's kind of like one of the first questions that you might ask.
Is it weird that I've always like imagined Greek life as like cults?
It's not unlike it.
Yeah.
Emma, do you have anything to share about that?
I'm just gonna say it's not like a cult. Actually, maybe cut that out. I don't know. Yeah, being in a sorority is a really unique experience, I would say. It's like when I joined the sorority at my college, because we're such a small school, like compared to Dartmouth, I bet we have a really different Greek life experience because it's not as prevalent on campus, and like it's not the number one thing on people's minds. So they're like, oh, it's really different than other schools. But I feel like there must be some similarities in it too, because there's a lot of traditions that are carried from like each sorority to each sorority, which is also a way that you can make connections with people from other schools, because you know that you have like the same values and traditions in your clubs because we all have the same national rules that come with it. But it also kind of removes some of that like personality of the school being within the club as well too. So yeah, it's a really interesting experience.
Like I've always wanted to know more about the experience because I'm not in Greek life at all. Because honestly, the thought kind of terrifies me. but also I've just never been the type of girl that got along with a bunch of girls. Like, I just get along with guys better generally. So,
There's
like, I've
co-ed.
always been
There's co-ed
curious.
frats.
Yeah, there are co-ed.
Oh, I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. Then
I
maybe that's
wonder if
something
they
you could
exist in
explore.
my school then.
Yeah, I think my school, I went to UPenn, and my school definitely had a very strong frat and sorority presence. I thought about joining one. I decided not to, because when they told us there were dues, and my parents said I would have to pay for it myself, I was like, I'm not paying for friends. But I feel like I just couldn't do it. But it looks so fun, and I think a part of it that I, again, now that I've graduated, can look back and be like, man, maybe I should have, is just the network you build. And you have a network not only with the people on your campus, but also with all of the alum of that frat or sorority as well. That now, like, your brother, sisterhood, like, you're connected to them, which is a really cool experience that I didn't necessarily had. But the idea of, like, living with 20 other women, no. The idea of having to clean up after parties, no. I just, yeah, it wasn't for me. So I'm happy I didn't, but I definitely think that if you're somebody that is like a little more introverted or has a harder time making friends, it does look like a really good path. But I'm curious because you guys are actually in it. Like, did you feel like you automatically had like a huge friend group, or that it just made the friend transition a little bit easier?
I guess, I mean, I'll speak a little bit first, and you can definitely add on, Emma. But obviously, like, I talked about how fraternity sorority life is big at Dartmouth, so it was not easier. It was more, kind of guided for like people once they're in their sophomore year to start going to rush events, things like that, because so many people do it. I think at the beginning I was one of those people that entering college, I wasn't interested in Greek life at all. Like, didn't sound interesting to me. I don't like whatever, right? But kind of started attending rush events in my sophomore year, which is when we start doing the rush process, which is like the process of joining a fraternity. And, met some brothers at some different houses, ended up liking the one that I ended up joining the most. And I guess, like, it's obvious that there's still like people in the fraternity that I'm closer with than others, maybe just people in my class year or like people that I already knew before joining the frat. But it does feel like it's one big community where, like, I can reach out to anyone and for anything really, and have that available to me, which I thought was, like, looking back, is something that I think is really valuable.
Yeah. I came into college thinking that I would rush from the beginning because my older sister went to USC. So she was like, oh, Greek life seems like something that would be really fun, and it would be easier for you to get in since you go to a smaller school, so you wouldn't have to like worry about like rejection and all of those emotions. So I came in and I rushed in the spring semester of my freshman year. And when I first joined, I initially thought that I would feel that sense of like, oh, I belong here now. Like, these are my people and they're going to stick up for me and this is going to be like my group. But I didn't feel that like immediate sense of belonging, I think, because I'm kind of like an ambivert. So for me, it's tough to socialize with people like all the time and meet everybody. So it didn't really feel like perfect at first. And I was kind of like unsure if I wanted to stay or not. But what really helped for me was getting my sorority family. And that makes it a lot easier to like narrow down to the specific people who are going to be there for you, basically. Because with a huge group like that, it's tough to just get along with everybody, to be honest. So you never know who's going to be like your best friend, or, if you don't get along so well. But having the family really makes it easier. So, yeah.
What's the family?
Like the bigs and the littles.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what helps. Yeah.
I was always jealous of, like, my roommate had a big, and she came home and
With all the stuff.
Yeah, her bed
Yeah.
was covered with like
Yeah.
fun toys and candy. So
Yeah.
jealous.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it's special.
Was it like a senior and freshman thing? Or
It's like I think it's sophomore and freshman. And then
okay.
just like one grade apart.
I see.
Yeah.
Sick. I'm curious, like, for frat and sorority life, do you think like anyone can join, or is there like a specific type of person that would work for, and then other people that you would say you shouldn't join?
I think it can be a lot tougher for introverts, because for me, being an ambivert, I like going through the rush process is something that's really scary, because you have to be talking to people like 3 days, or our rush process is only 3 days long, but it's for like 5 hours each of those days too. So that can be really overwhelming, and it's like so much socialization. But also, if you feel like that's a good way to get outside of your shell, then that can be a good thing too. But if you don't meet everybody, it might be more difficult to get a spot, because they might just not know you.
Dang.
Is that how it works for you?
Our rush process is longer than 3 days. I think for our sorority rush processes also might be something similar, depending on the details. For fraternity rush at my school, it's like weeks long, but it's not constant. It's like they have rush events maybe like once a week, and you would attend these events for like an hour or two, and it's like chill events, like you just meet the brothers and chill. I don't know. I think Greek life can be for everybody. I consider myself probably like an introverted person, but obviously I'm part of Greek life. I think maybe part of it is also being at Dartmouth, where it's like so prevalent, and like that means it's very diverse, and like a lot of different people are joining, unlike some other schools where it's more like niche. You know, you got to be like a specific subset of person, or like an athlete or something, to be able to fit in well into Greek life. I think like either way, right, whether you're joining Greek life, whether you're not, there's a lot of opportunities, just like kind of tying it back to the conversation, right, to be able to meet people, to make friends. Even though I'm part of a fraternity, I'd say probably most of my closest friends are not in that fraternity. In fact, they're not even affiliated at all, maybe by chance or by what. But I think either way, it's not something that I think, you have to feel forced to join. Like, oh no, I got to make friends. I got to like join a fraternity or something, or a sorority. It's something that's an option. I think it can be for everyone if you're interested.
Nice. Are the stereotypes true, like in the 80s movies, or are they very, very wrong? I
mean, it also depends on the frat, I guess, or the house. Every house has different cultures. I don't know. Like, it'll depend on the specific thing.
Do you guys have like the big frat houses and like the frat row?
Yeah, we have a frat row. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Is that a stereotype?
I think so. We don't have that.
Oh, is it like off campus or?
No, our like fraternity and sorority houses are like dorms at Babson. Like they're on campus. So it's not actual houses. It's not an actual house. Yeah. Okay. It's more like a tower.
I think our Greek life is also like, they're not, I guess, dorms, but they're like regulated by the college. So like the rooms in the fraternities kind of look like dorms, you know what I mean? And they have the same like safety stuff and all that. And also like, again, under the supervision, under the regulation of all the college rules and stuff like that.
So today we talked about social life. Thank you, Colby, for having us talk about the most probably exciting part of college. But I think we all can agree that we gave everybody listening really good advice today. And I hope everybody listening felt like they received really good advice. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to Campus Underground today. I hope you learned a ton of new things and gained some insights, and we'll join again sometime soon.